A couple days ago, I got a really interesting comment on my YouTube channel, which was make a video about why the Poco X2 or the next device from Pocophone is not going to be a rebranded Redmi K30. That got me thinking of the recent news of Poco declaring themselves as being an independent brand from Xiaomi for India. And these are just my thoughts and some rumors that we've had. Before I want to talk about the Poco F2 or the next flagship killing device from Poco, it's important that we talk and understand the Indian market, because this is a company that was literally founded to create devices for a specific subset of users in a quickly developing market. So the first thing we need to understand about India is that their taxes and their tariffs on imported items are really high. That leads cell phone and device manufacturers to bring as much device manufacturing and as much device component manufacturing as they can into the country of India so that the devices can be sold at a lower cost due to less taxes and tariffs. So specifically last year when the Redmi K20 was launched, one of the things that I said was that because it utilizes Corning Gorilla Glass 5, they are having to use 2 times the amount of Corning Gorilla Glass, which if you guys do not know, Corning has a variety of patents on their Gorilla Glass so that the Gorilla Glass itself has to be manufactured within a Corning facility. And to my knowledge, and last time I checked, all of the Corning manufacturing facilities were based in the US. And what does this mean for the Poco X2? Well, Xiaomi is going to want to create a device at the lowest price point possible, meaning they're going to need to bring manufacturing costs for the next Poco device as low as they can. So importing Gorilla Glass for the back of the phone when they can just save money to use an injection molded plastic or a polycarbonate similar to that of the Poco F1 would allow them to bring that manufacturing to India. And this is the first thing I think that we're going to see as a substantial difference between the Poco line of devices and the Redmi K30 line of devices. I think that although the exterior of the devices might be the same, I think that they might look the same. I think that on the Poco line of devices, to cut costs, we are going to see a polymer design. The next is with storage. Now, for the Redmi K30 variants in China, they have the UFS 3.1 storage for their higher tier storage devices. This is currently because UFS 3.1 storage is only being manufactured in batches larger than 128 gigabytes, which is why you can get a Realme X Pro 2 with UFS 2.1 or UFS 3.0 storage, depending upon which storage variant you get. So I think that to bring the lowest possible pricing of the Redmi K30 to India, I think that we're going to see the Redmi K30 come at a launch with 664, possibly 864, and that 64 gigabyte variant is going to be UFS 2.1 so they can offer it at a lower price point and compete with Realme. This makes sense because it gives Poco a headline of a Snapdragon 865 processor, high refresh rate screen at a shockingly low price. But if you want to get the full experience, you're going to want to step up to the UFS 3.0 storage. The next compromise I could see Xiaomi making, Redmi making, Poco making in regards to bringing a Poco device to India is changing the cameras, because right now if you get the Redmi K30 5G, it's going to have a slightly different camera array. I believe it's the macro sensor that's a different the macro sensor is a different camera setup, but I believe most of the other cameras are the same. Definitely the flagship 64 megapixel camera from the K30 is going to be present on the Poco X2, but I think that it's going to get the camera specs from the lowest Redmi K30 model, being the Redmi K30 4G, but it's going to have the Snapdragon 865. This would allow them to cut some costs and cut some corners, along with a plastic build, UFS 2.1 storage on the lower end variants, to bring a device at a shockingly low price point. Now, it makes sense for Xiaomi Redmi to use all of the same tooling and a lot of the same manufacturing processes that they have already in place for the Redmi K30 4G and Redmi K30 variants in China, because it's much easier and much cheaper to finalize that tooling, import that machinery and tooling into India, and then develop that device in India with the new materials for the back of the case, then to completely redesign their tooling and completely redesign their manufacturing processes from the ground up for a different device. Also, from the leaks that we've seen, it looks like the chassis of it is going to be identical, or the physical outward appearance of it is going to be identical to what we have on the Redmi K30. The last and final place that I see Xiaomi Redmi cutting corners on the Poco device to bring it into India at the lowest possible price point is going to be not having 5G. Now, it is worth noting that there are different licensing fees and there are different fees that come with having a device certified for 5G, having the testing for 5G, unlocking the radio bands, and a variety of things. And we can see that when Xiaomi brought the Redmi K20 to India, that they had certain things they left out in regards to like carrier aggregation and other kind of minute differences that the Indian variant had that the Chinese variant didn't have. So overall, I think that we're going to be looking at a Poco flagship, whatever the Poco flagship is. It's going to have the 120 hertz refresh display, 4,500 milliamp hour battery, start at 64 gigabytes and 6 gigabytes of RAM for UFS 2.1 storage, jump up to higher storage and UFS 3.0 storage, as well as more RAM variants. I think we're going to see a full plastic phone, but the actual design of it is going to be identical to what we have in the Redmi K30. I think that we're going to have the lowest tier cameras that we have possible from the Redmi K30 4G in China. And I think that overall we're going to be getting a slightly more focused variant of the Redmi K30 and Redmi K30 5G for the Indian market. They're not going to have 5G, and they're going to cut corners where they can, but still give people a lot of the core fundamental things that they want in a smartphone. Now, I also think that we're going to have another Poco device that's below their top tier line device, and that's going to come with a Snapdragon 765 or even potentially a MediaTek chipset, but the MediaTek chipset is probably less likely. I think that because the average Indian consumer is quite tech savvy, releasing a MediaTek chip in India is going to kind of not go over so well with the Indian market. Let me know what you guys think of this. Hit the subscribe button if you want more up-to-date news and analysis on Xiaomi Redmi Poco. And let me know what you guys think about my predictions in the comment section down below. If you guys want to keep up with me on social media, you guys know how to do it. Until next time, it's been Mitchell, coming to you guys from Hanoi. Peace.